Now, in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys how we could have actually traded the S&P 500 futures, this area right here. How do we know this would be a very important area? And more importantly, if indeed we take a trade down at these levels, where do we place our target location? Now, to help us answer these questions real quick, we're going to come over and look at Bookmap. And in case you guys are unfamiliar with Bookmap, we're going to do a quick rundown. Now, the lines horizontally going across, the darker the red, the larger the resting orders. And if we look right over here on the order book, we have over 1,000 contracts sitting right here at 52.34. Now, one thing I like to see is if we go ahead and we play this, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this a little bit. We can see right now price is trading all the way up here near 52.42. Now, I know the ranges may not look all that great when we're looking over there on TradingView, but as we speed this up, I want you guys to pay very close attention. Notice what happens once price finally starts to make it down towards that area. Notice what happens right there. We get a large bubble. We get absorption taking place at that area. Now, the question that we want to ask ourselves is this an area where the market can firm up? So for that, what do we have to do? We have to play a little bit more data, and we want to be mindful that we do have some levels down here below us, but this is more the algos, the ones that you see flickering back and forth. This is nothing more than the trading algos. Look, we come down a little bit, but I want you guys to pay attention. As we start coming down, are the bubbles nearly as large as what we saw near that liquidity level? The answer probably is no, which means the selling is not as great as it once was. Then as we come over and we look on this chart right here, we're going to come over and use the replay function within TradingView. So here we are in TradingView. Now that large order where that big bubble came into that we saw was right here, right around 52.35. Now, as we go ahead and we draw a horizontal line on TradingView, this is our level, right? This is where we know the big players are going to be in the market. So now on TradingView, I'm simply going to go ahead. I'm going to hit play. Now I want to see, does that level get tested? Bam. Now that's where the level was actually taken out, right? We went down below it. Boom, we're trying to pop back up above it. But how do we trade this, right? Bookmap already identified to us where there was a large buyer waiting. Now, think about this. If a large buyer was willing to buy there, if they haven't capitulated out of their trade, what is going to happen if we start coming back up? Will that buyer commit to buying more contracts, trying to push the market up higher? Now, what we can also look at is if indeed we're looking for a bullish setup, which we'll talk about here in a moment, where can some of our price targets be? Well, if we zoom this out a little bit, look at the next high liquidity level. That's going to come in at 52.60. So now what I want to do is I want to come back over to TradingView, and we're simply going to go ahead and draw another horizontal line, and we're going to draw this right here at 52.60. So now we can see the two levels of liquidity. One level has already been taken out. So now we're going to go ahead and hit play, and let's see if we can figure out when would be a good time. All right. One, here's a little hammer candle that we have right now. Now we can either look to get long right when we break the high of that hammer candle, like I did just there. Then we can go ahead and grab our take profit, go ahead and move it up towards that area. We can grab our stop loss order and just move it down here just a bit. Now, one thing I do want to do when we look at the stop loss order, we want to come back over to Bookmap. Now, as we come over and look at Bookmap, you can see we have a little bit of liquidity sitting right down here. We're going to call that level 52.28. So what I want to do is I want to make sure my stop loss is below 52.28, which it is. It's right there at 52.24. So I'm going to grab this stop loss, and I'm actually going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to move it up to about 27.25. And I want you guys to pay attention to the risk to reward profile. This is all we're risking for how much are we trying to make. This is multiples of what we're trying to make. And if we go ahead and grab TradingView's tool, you can see that we actually have a 3.43 reward to risk ratio on this trade. So it's not even like we have to be right every single time we take the trade. And our simple entry on the trade could have been when we broke the top of that hammer candle right there. So as soon as we broke the top of that hammer candle, that was our entry point. We put our stop loss right below the liquidity level. And if we go ahead and we hit play, let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Boom, that was easy. Targets filled. And if you look at that, right, we essentially got in at 52.36.75. We got out. We must have got slippage. We got out at 52.63. That's just slippage because I think we had our order at 60. So we're going to say 52.36 to 53.60. That is almost 30 S&P points. If we look at how Bookmap actually unfolded as this price was coming through, we'll go ahead and hit play, and we'll let this go ahead and play out. Now I'm going to speed this up a little bit just to save your guys' time, so you don't have to sit there and watch every tick. You see chugga, 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 chugging along. And then we're going to see the market come right back up. We have a little bit of liquidity at 50, but then the big liquidity right there at 60 gets taken out. Now, notice what happens right? When we hit that higher level of liquidity, notice what happens. We probe a little bit above it. And then as we start coming back down, we start to get a retracement on the way back down again. So if you're looking to play a quick little scalp on the way back down, that would have been good for a few points as well. We'll call it 59 down to at least 52. So you could have snagged a quick little reversal trade off that move as well. Now, if you're interested in Bookmap and you'd like to save a little bit of money, use the link in the description box down below.